podcast. Come take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. Coming to you live from Battlecat Studios. And where's Battlecat Studios? I'm glad you asked. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. I came to see my boy, Dr. Julian Magee, and we are actually in the Sugar Shack. You see the pic? You see where we at? So, as you know, season 2, we on a whole nother level. I don't know what's going to happen. That ain't my responsibility. What my responsibility is to give you me, to give you us. So I know how the show's going to start. I know how we're going to end. What happens in between, I have no idea. And I'm bringing one of your favorite podcast guests, Dr. Julian Magee, to talk about whatever comes up. We got 2 ideas. We don't know which one's going to hit. So we're just going to allow this thing to flow organically because that's who we are and that's what we do. So, Dr. Magee, welcome back, baby.
Thank you. Good to be back. Or I guess it's a welcome back to the show. So welcome to St. Louis
Yes, indeed.
at the same time. So in there. Parallels already, right?
All day long. And for those who are listening, we are in the studio. Like we just crafted this studio and we got some craft drinks over here as well. So if you are listening, if you are watching, grab you a joint or a drink, whatever you want to join us for this conversation. Boy, today drink. You may not drink, you may not have a joint, and that's fine. But find you something to enjoy this moment. Coffee, tea, whatever. This is kind of like the best way I can describe it is a vault. This vault is locked, is secure. However, we're allowing other people in. We're allowing you full access to the things that we talk about, things that we think about, things that are important to us, and we want to let you all in. So today, I feel moved to talk about health. I really feel moved to talk about health. And the beauty of Dr. Magee and myself, we come from very humble beginnings, backgrounds in the South and culture and Blackness. And from our early days in college, from University of West Alabama all the way to now, we've noticed trends. We've noticed some things throughout life, and we want to talk about them. And Julian's perspective is more on the physical and medical medicine health, and mine is more of the mental. So we're putting those 2 worlds together to share with you all some thoughts, some ideas, some facts, some figures, some experiences to help you begin to look at yourself and the people around you differently. So starting off with beliefs versus facts. So you and I have a very similar experience around the term dialysis. Let's just start there with dialysis. And for many of you listening or watching, dialysis means something different for everybody. If you really think about it, everything has meaning, and there's meaning that we give it. So I would love to hear your perspective about your experience with dialysis. Not saying you've actually experienced it, but
I understand.
what dialysis may be. Because for many of us in the Black culture, Black community, dialysis is a common practice. So if you could share your thoughts about it.
I think for me, it's one of those things where it feels like it's going to be routine. It's like you're gonna get gray hair, you might lose your hair, you're gonna end up on dialysis one day. And that is not true. It doesn't have to be an inevitability. But the problem for me in that statement is that it just means how many of us deal with, especially in our community. You know somebody who has been on dialysis, is on dialysis, or is going to be on dialysis. I know somebody right now who is on dialysis. I know multiple people. I mean, and this is not due to my professional work. This is just in my everyday life, people that I grew up with, love, and care for. On dialysis, have been on dialysis, are going to be on dialysis. And, some people will need it just because. But even understanding diabetes, it's an inevitability. Like when you turn 50, you don't get the sugars. Well, technically you got the sugars because you got blood sugar going through you from day one. So you got the sugar. You don't have to have uncontrolled, unchecked diabetes. It's 2 types. It's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is typically juvenile. So you have it. I have a nephew who has type 1 diabetes. It was nothing he did. He was completely fine one day, and then his blood sugar shot through the roof. And, he was almost a teenager. So he had lived life without this. So he experienced being able to eat what he wanted to do what he wanted, just as a typical kid would do. And then he's in the emergency room. My brother's scared for his life. And it's like, oh, he developed type 1 diabetes. So there's no control. Type 2 now, that's when we get from diet, lifestyle, typically. There are some other factors that can influence it, but it's mainly controllable. And you see this is the type that I'm talking about that is like, oh, you're going to get it. But you're right. You're going to get it if you eat sugar and can I cuss on it?
It's 3 Criminals Podcast.
You eat sugar, you eat like shit every day, basically. So if your morning consists of donuts, sugary cereal, you got cookies in your snack time. If you know, I like fruit, and then you're eating pie, your sugary drinks, all those things, and you do this long enough, you don't make lifestyle changes, you may be on your way. Alcohol, lots of things, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy these things, I don't partake in these things, but truly everything in moderation and in balance, and we have to learn that because your 20-year-old body can do a lot of things. Your 45-year-old body cannot.
Okay.
So, or it can, but if this is the fuel that you use to run this magnificent machine that we have called the human body, then it's going to have some breaking points.
Okay. So to break this down for the listeners, for the audience, we talked about dialysis, and underneath the surface of dialysis is diabetes, type 1, type 2. And I appreciate you explaining all of that because for many of us watching, listening, we may not be familiar. We've heard of it, know of it, but may not know. So you really broke down 2 different types of diabetes to help us understand more. If you could help us understand what's the purpose of dialysis and why do people go to dialysis?
So at the point that you are on dialysis, your kidneys have kind of shut down. So you need your kidneys are your filters. So they filter your blood for the most part. So when your kidneys don't function, you typically hear the term ESRD or end-stage renal disease. Your renal pertaining to the kidney, your renal glands are in your kidneys, so your organs, so your kidneys are shutting down. So that's why you might see somebody who may need a kidney transplant. So again, there are various reasons for people to be on dialysis. I don't want to make it seem like it's all about diabetes. Again, typically, I think, or in what we would call very large numbers, as a health disparity within the Black community, we see type 2 diabetes and we see end-stage renal disease. So, not fun, sad fact is that until recently, to be classified with end-stage renal disease, ESRD, if you were Black, you had to be worse on the scale than if you were white. So this is where DEI, for those of you who may not be proponents, it may be an opponent and say, oh, they're just giving people who ain't qualified nothing. We learn these things. So I'm sorry there, but I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. But I had to put that in there to say, it's things like this that we look at. So you had to be sicker, closer to death, before you could be considered worse. And once you're considered worse, well, you're not the top candidate for a kidney transplant because chances are it may be so bad in us that we're closer to end of life, that we are more a viable life. So when you see things around people championing these causes, why we need this is it. Don't believe the hype on the news that is people who trying to fly planes who ain't qualified. And by the way, nobody has ever not been qualified who is able to fly a commercial plane. Because there ain't a Black test for the pilot, and there ain't a Black test for the doctor. There ain't a Black law test. I assure you. And if it is in these United States, it would probably be harder anyway. So there you go. That's my truth. I know we went somewhere, but I'm compelled to move. When the spirit moves, ain't that what we say?
All day long. And this is what the show is about. So I want to go a step further and share my ignorance, which I'm okay with, because ignorance is temporary if you're open to learn.
Right.
And
Ignorance is not knowing. You simply don't know. I have never been snow skiing. I ain't ignorant to the fact. I am proud of that. I can go try to learn, but if I go out there and try to teach somebody how to snow ski in my ignorance, I am malicious. I am woefully inept. I am I'm a problem.
Mm.
And a lot of people use their ignorance, what they heard,
Mm.
to try to be the teacher and the leader of a thing. And that is dangerous. I don't want to be a danger. I'm just ignorant to something. So I want to say that because we have this stigma around ignorance. Ignorance is not stupidity.
What's forbidden?
Stupidity is, again, when you take your ignorance and you act like you have this knowledge and you're trying to lead, guide, and make decisions on something that you have nothing about. Study. Don't be stupid. No, we don't like to say the S word, but no, especially in academic circles and things like that. So no, you say there's no such thing as a stupid question. There may not be when you're asking from a place of curiosity, but when you're making statements on, well, I know this, all dot, people do this because, and how many of the other people you know? Well, I saw it on TV that one time. Yeah, that's stupid. So I'm sorry.
No,
Your ignorance.
no apology needed. So my ignorance, lack of knowledge related to dialysis and diabetes, uh, I just knew there were a parallel. I knew that dialysis equated to diabetes or vice versa, and that many of us, Black folks, would go to dialysis, usually aunties, uncles, grandparents. I thought dialysis was just a part of aging, especially for Black people, because those are the people that I knew that went to dialysis. And it wasn't until my ignorance was quenched, I would say, with knowledge, with education. And when I learned is dialysis is not required and diabetes isn't required either. It's a preventable disease that I had no idea was preventable because I didn't know. And for many of us in the culture, Black culture, a lot of these things we don't know because we're not talking about them. We're not talking about them because historically we like secrets. We're good at secrets. We're great at secrets, especially when it comes to our health. So for me, that eye-opening moment was I had a colleague who was working in organ donation and transplant and transport, like all these different things are related to our organs, and that's when I start learning about the underlying health concerns with diabetes. So I thought the sugar was you just keep on living. So like grandma, I'm saying you keep on living, you're gonna end up with the sugar, not recognizing that dialysis is not required and diabetes is preventable outside of what you mentioned with type A, based off of our diet, based off of exercise, based off of heredity. There may be some aspects, but we can prevent it through education. We can prevent it through lifestyle changes. We can prevent it through living life differently than the life that we may have been taught or told to get into. So for me, that ignorance of I know I have to start preparing for transportation to get the dialysis back and forth. That was my belief. I didn't know that it wasn't a fact. So I'm curious to know from your perspective, like how did you get to this place, especially working in the industry that you work in, that things that you were taught and told from childhood to adulthood are actually beliefs and not facts? And how did you recover from recognizing, man, I've been told this my whole life, and now I'm recognizing, I'm realizing, I'm learning that's not true.
I think for me, I don't feel like it was a lie. I think it was the information that people had. But you have to think about where we come from and the times that we lived in. I mean, again, people don't like to talk about these things. It's like you always had access to knowledge. Well, that's not necessarily true because at a certain point, if I tried to read, I could have been killed, had my hand chopped off, any variety of different things. So let's not say that. And we're talking about people who didn't have the access that I had, who didn't have the access that even people previous to them had. And there may have been some shared knowledge, but then we have to think about social and structural drivers. So I don't begrudge what I was told because I think people were operating with a very set of limited facts. I still think I wouldn't call it stupidity, I would call it ignorance because of the access. And I don't think those people were being malicious. I think it's a resignation. This happens. We had to think about trust, mistrust, and distrust within the healthcare system. So it's a very complex topic, but to think about the myriad of factors that go into it. We grew up, or I grew up in the Deep South. You lived there. You had lots of time there. And you went to Auburn outside of Tuskegee. I went to Alabama State, not too far from Tuskegee. When we think about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, induced by the government, who knew what they were doing to these people, did not tell them the truth. Well, why would I trust you? If this is my knowledge, they are doing to us, not for us. Why would I trust my healthcare provider? Why would I trust this person? I don't know that I can ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I'm just told to do this. And these are the experiences of people. It may not be my healthcare experience. I wish my doctor would tell me that I can't ask a question. How dare you? Who do you think you are? So you are here but not everybody has that. And I have that privilege because I have been granted access through what I do, where I do it, and my own curiosity that led me to seek the knowledge.
So with this being said, I'm noticing parallels. I'm noticing trends. I'm curious to know, do you believe that these things that happen to us as a culture with the Tuskegee experiment plays into a lot of Black people specifically not having trust in the healthcare system and not going to get a physical or going to the doctor, not because they don't want to, not because things are going on, but because of the trust factor. I can't trust.
I think that's a big part of it. I feel like it changes now, but when you talk about grandmama and them and auntie and them, and that was their experience. We have to remember my parents were born in Mississippi in 1950 and 1951. Well, they grew up. They were born into a segregated society, so they didn't have full access, and they grew up in a place where the state was actively working against them. So all you had is the knowledge here. And I don't think people were signing up. It wasn't a whole lot of Black doctors signing up to come to Mississippi. In those times, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But they were there. But you're trying to treat this large swath of people. So access is an issue. We see access issues today. So but then you put on these complicated, harsh factors around it. And why? I'm just gonna do what I've been doing. It doesn't stop me from working. I can't see high blood pressure. I don't see the effects of diabetes until much later.
Yeah.
I know I need food to eat so it can give me energy so I can go to work.
So how would someone like us or our children or even our parents supporting them, like how do people create this shift to develop this level of privilege that you have to speak up and speak out for your health?
You learn. That is, if we only train healthcare professionals, helping professionals, whoever you are, mental, physical, medicine, to only do their job, you're gonna miss the boat. I just spoke this morning. I am not simply a science person. I have to be an artist. And what I mean by that, artists move human emotions. And if I don't see a human being in front of me, I don't see, hear, and value them. Again, what DEI does for all people, not just one set, I'm gonna always come back to that, by the way, is that I have to see, hear, and value. It's not just seeing and hearing. I value human beings. I love Black people. I am Black. But I do value all humans because I can't find one invaluable and think that I can still do my job like I should. Can't have somebody in front of me suffering. And as a healthcare professional, we walk with people in their sorrow and suffering. People don't come to me because they feel great.
Yeah.
They've come to me because they're in pain. They can't move. Their life has been changed by disability, disease, something. So you have to do that. So we have to learn how to advocate. So I remember my dad was having some issues, his doctor, and I just was like, this ain't right. Asking this, asking him. Well, I asked him. Just when the doctor knows, he knows more than I do. He's a professional. He's telling me what I need to do. No, I'm coming. And at that time, I think I might have been in Nashville. I want to know this, and this. You're asking a lot of questions. I am. I had the right. He's your patient. He's paying you. It's a service.
Yeah.
You are not doing him a favor.
Mhm.
This is your, not only is it your service from this exchange of money, it's your ethical responsibility to fully make sure he is well informed.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Our system, our capitalist system says, well, I need to get to my next patient. Well, he's just important. And as long as I'm here, you're going to answer this question, or you're going to know that I'm going to call you. So who can we do that? Who would you do that for? Find yourself an advocate. There are people called patient advocates out there. But the other thing, I think, the really simple thing is we have to learn. You may not know the term for A1C mean. Find somebody who does. Ask them, hey, can you tell me what this means? Just don't take on the paper. Oh, I went to the doctor. They told me I got diabetes. They told me that's the sugar, so I need to start taking this pill. You may need to do that. I have to take medicine for cholesterol, but I found out it was a genetic thing. But I was never just satisfied with the answer. What does this statin do? What are the side effects of me taking it? What is this? Now again, that's my own curiosity. But if I don't know, I'm going to ask. We have to get beyond the pride of our ignorance.
Mm.
We have to move from ignorant to informed. Let's not move from ignorant to stupid.
Mhm.
Back to my original comment around what stupid is. And I'm rushing through some of these processes, for time. And again, there are a variety of reasons that people can end up with diabetes. But when it's the things that I can control, I have to want to make that lifestyle change.
So how do you build this confidence? Because you seem confident in it. You work in the space, you do the space, you're an advocate, you're a patient advocate. How can someone without this knowledge base advocate for themselves and have confidence with their own doctor or even to get a primary care position?
Well, I think that's first. You just have to ask the questions. You don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what this word means as you try to read it, ask. That's just the first step. That wasn't anything special about me. That has nothing to do with my degree.
Yeah.
That was me saying, I want to know. Or I got to this part of the sentence and I don't know what any of this means. You're telling me my levels are high. Well, high for what? I can break out my phone and say, well, what's the normal level? But I know what a normative value is versus an abnormally low, abnormally high. Where do I fit and what does that mean to me? Is this something that you're telling me I need this medication today? But if I make some changes, what are those changes I could make? That I need this. Because, mom and them struggling this thing and she's saying, well, yeah, about my blood pressure medicine and I got this 30-day supply and it just went up. Because of our administration in the drug prices and things like that. So, yeah, I got a 30-day supply, but I'm going to take it every other day because this, and that. And I can say, well, you can do that, but here's why you need to do it. Now, that's not for you to understand, but I need to say, well, you really need to take that every day, and here's why. And so ask the question, what happens if I miss days? What happens if I do this because this is expensive? Again, what I will agree with you with, in Black community, we don't want to tell our business, right? I ain't got the money for this. I ain't gonna tell them. Well, tell them because you know what? They might have a coupon that gives you either samples, and by samples you're gonna get 6 months supply, or you're gonna get a discount, something. But get to the understanding of why you need it. Just don't accept someone at their word. If I walked up to you and said, "Hey man, give me $1 million and I'm gonna change your life," I could change your life because I just stole your $1 million and you'll never see me again. Or I could take it, invest it, and make it into two, whatever it is. But you should have curiosity with everything. And by curiosity, you should question.
Okay. All right. So to the listeners, to the viewers, I hope y'all hearing what I'm hearing. Curiosity is key. Ignorance is temporary if you're open and willing to learn. Stupidity is subjective and it's optional. You don't have to be stupid. So I want to go a little further to a specific population that we connect with, which is Black men. So when it comes to Black men,
My Lord.
Black men, when it comes to physical health, when it comes to mental health, ourselves, our fathers, our grandfathers, there's a lot of barriers, there's a lot of disparity. And I'm curious to know, your thoughts about this and how do we overcome it?
Overcoming it, I think it's gonna take a while to just start there. And it's multifactorial. It's not as simple as I'm saying. Because I know somebody out there ready to just roast me and light my ass off right now. It's not, this is not, it is not. It is not. You are right. It's multifactorial. It is your mental health. It is your physical health. It is those things. But I think about it with seeing people die. Yeah. We're here in St. Louis. If you live close to the arch, your life expectancy is around, I believe, 58 years, maybe 61. It's a large black population. 10 miles away, you get 25 more years of life. 25 more years of life. 25 more years to tell somebody I love you, or to have a chance to experience, feel love, to feel joy, to smile. 25 more years. In 25 years, I went to college. I graduated. I went to college again. I graduated. I went to college again. I graduated. I've seen life change. I remember when there was no iPhone. I remember when there was no PlayStation. We went from an Atari to where we are now. 25 years is a lot. And it's a quarter of a century. And it flies by. 25 years ago, we were 19. And where it looks so far away, it doesn't feel so far away now. Then it seemed like forever. Now it seems like a blink of an eye. So what would 25 years have been for D'Angelo? And he had cancer. It's an organic disease. People have that. What would life have been to see Heavy D get to be at this point in his life? 45 years old when he died. And I can't say whatever it was, heart attacks, things like Irv Gotti had a stroke in his 50s. Yeah. All these things. And maybe it was lifestyle, but I also think it was a lot of the stresses of life. So again, I said, we don't like to tell our business, but sometimes you don't have to tell your business to me. Find somebody to tell your business to. Get your counselor. I've said that in my first episode. Somebody you can talk to and who is going to inform you. Because again, ignorance is not bliss, but it can kill you. At least I can make an informed decision. So if you want to eat cake, pie, donuts all day, every day, be informed about what it's going to do to you. Don't tell nobody you didn't know. Because now I have to say, yeah, you might have been ignorant about it, but you chose to be ignorant, and remaining ignorant when you know something. If you see this and you question it, please question. Don't take it all for what I say. Again, I'm moving very fast through some complex, complicated things to understand. But at least somebody has introduced something that should spark your respect and curiosity. Prove me wrong. But if you have been told something now, you can no longer remain say, oh, I'm completely ignorant. I ain't never heard that before. Yes. If you choose to remain ignorant, once something has been questioned, then you're moving back to that S word. Yeah. Stupid. But coming back to black men, we have total systems. This is why being the artist as a healthcare provider and looking at humans, human beings, human interaction systems. Why do we need to study this stuff in medical school? Because there are the social and structural drivers of health. Fun fact, 80% of this stuff that affects your health, I can't influence as a healthcare provider. What do you mean by that? So you have these things called social and structural, people say determinants or drivers, where you live, work, born, play, interact. So it's all these systems, right? So no matter how great I am as a physical therapist, no matter how great as your physician is, 20% of the things that we do as healthcare professionals, if we only do our jobs for what we're trained in, the science, we can only, our influence, our knowledge, our expertise can only work on about 20% of your health. The other 80% are what we call upstream factors before you ever get to the healthcare. So if you do everything right, it's going to be influenced by this. I can only influence 20% of it. There's a whole 80 left. Yeah. That's where you live, where you work, how you eat, what goes on in society. So all these factors we have to be aware of. Have you ever been told about the social and structural drivers or determinants of health?
I don't know.
And you're a healthcare helping professional.
Absolutely.
And the work that you do works upstream.
Mhm.
It's not downstream where would I typically see a person. You come to me because you, in my practice, you have some type of musculoskeletal injury. You may be affected by disease or disability, but it's at the point after. It's a very reactive approach. I want to be proactive. Proaction, proactiveness, whatever the word is, leads to us making those changes. And even once you've had an experience, we can still begin to make changes, but we have to go look upstream because you may not be able to change where you live. That's a huge part of it. But then we had environmental things. For those of you, I mean, I struggle with my acceptance of AI currently because yes, it can be very beneficial and changing, but to have it, we need these large data sets. They require a lot of clean water. So I'm not an environmentalist. You'll never hear me talk about some of those things, but I understand that if you look at the number of people who have asthma, specifically Black folks, it's because of the environments that we've been in. There's a neighborhood here not too far from here that was built on top of an old landfill, and it's a Black neighborhood. And so when these data centers come in, what are they going to do to the communities around them as far as fresh drinking water, all those kinds of things? We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Your politics matter. Vote for it. Oh, it's going to bring in jobs. Yeah. And it's going to kill you too. Faster than it probably would have, or it has the potential to.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, it's being informed. And then we have to think about other systems, our social system. Race is a social construct. Racism is a very real social driver of your health. Otherwise, you have people who run every day and live way. They do everything they're supposed to do. They still drop dead of a heart attack. What are the stressors on their life that we can't see? There's a writer, a researcher, Geronimus, I believe it's Eileen Geronimus. She talks about weather, and especially Black people, Black folks in these United States, we experience this weathering. So we can do everything right. I can be in a high socioeconomic tax bracket, excuse me. But we still see some disparate outcomes when we look at race. We look at race to see the social construct and the ramifications of this group of people. We don't say that race causes things. Like being Black does not mean that I'm going to have high blood pressure.
It doesn't?
It doesn't. But I will say physicians, prior to, I'll be generous and say 2015, but it's probably some afterwards. And even some now, they're taught that, well, yes, it does. So what that means is what I just told you, you can't stop this. So I can't begrudge why grandmama and them thought when you turn 50, this was gonna happen, because that's what they were told.
Yeah.
You Black, you're gonna get diabetes around this time. You Black, you're gonna have high blood pressure. That is not the case. Because they didn't explore the ramifications of what living in a racist Jim Crow society had on people. And you talk about diseases that are passed down. These are diseases that are passed down that we can't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your body is fighting or it's understanding the stress. Because when you get pulled over and the tension and your blood pressure shoots up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it takes forever to come down, and you notice that you're trembling. So then you go and reach for a cigarette or whatever else to numb the pain.
Yeah.
It's all related. So we have to start to talk about the root causes. And again, I would push back and say, in our current environment, I can't teach those causes in that way. Well, I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I can be fired for the right reason.
So to pivot with that on the physical health side of things, and I can talk about it all day as a therapist, and I wanted to hear from your perspective as someone who's not directly connected to the mental health profession, but in the health profession. What is that like for, again, going back to Black men to consider therapy, to go to therapy, to stay consistent in therapy, and even your own journey, your own story, because it's a lot. Mental health, there's a lot of barriers, and everything that you talked about connects not only to physical, but to mental as well. So how would someone, specifically a Black man, do the work to do what you've been able to do?
Well, I don't separate the two. My health is my health. Because I can't take my brain out of my head.
Yeah.
Right. If I don't treat my mental health issues, I know I'll see the ramifications in my body at some point. They just may be where the hitting. So when you wonder why you can't sleep at night. So in physical therapy, at least where I am, where we teach, how we practice, we focus on 4 areas. And I call it SPAN: sleep, physical activity, and nutrition. If any of those are disturbed, we need to see why. Why can't I sleep at night? Oh, man, I just ain't never been able to sleep. Well, let's talk through some things. Tell me about your day. You, as the mental health professional, can say, well, I just got a new job. I just had a baby. Whatever it may be, positive or not, it's a change in your life. And have you truly gone through what that is? Because you may make more money now. You got a promotion, but you also got more responsibility.
Yeah.
You're responsible for other people. Then you just had a baby, or you got a partner. So now you're responsible for 2 other people.
Yeah.
In more close, connected, intimate relationship. But I ain't never seen a positive relationship. So again, start telling your business to someone you can trust, who has your best interest. Because now I can say, well, this might be why you're not sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, then it leads to injury, or you're not eating well, so you don't get the nutrients that's going to help muscle, bone, whatever. You're not moving. I tell people, just move. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You can go to the gym with me. We can lift all day. We can get on that spin biping. If you want to do it, I just want you to move.
Yeah.
Because what has it done? You tell me you sit 4 hours straight before you get up. Well, I want you to do this for me. Move 10 minutes every hour. That's all. It was just walk 10 minutes. Time in. You watch it, tell you whatever you want to do. Do you notice a change? What can I introduce? Again, it's where are you getting your knowledge from? How do you get informed? And I will say, it's not a lot of people out telling you in the United States. People are selling you things. In the words of the famous Larry Lightfoot, you can sue a damn ham sandwich for not having cheese on it. But people will sell you anything you want. You want to believe. I have worked with this person today, and I love them dearly. Who said, I found this thing online that if I just stand on it and vibrate, I'm gonna lose weight. I was like, you work here. Now, granted, this is not a healthcare professional that I'm working with.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, this is not going to work. Well, how do you know? They say, I was like, they say a lot of things. So for those of you who are out there talking, well, they say this and they say that. Again, they introduce something to you. Now you know, respect and curiosity is going to say, you're going to investigate that to become informed. Who would you take their word at just because? You shouldn't do that for me. And I'm telling you, I'm a professional. I told you all, go check what I said. You're going to find some errors in what I said. But again, I also gave a caveat that I'm moving through this very fast. But I'm fine with admitting that I don't know everything. I really am. And I can get some things wrong. So I apologize now, because you're going to find it in some of the statements that I made. But go be informed. And so as Black men, I think we just need to have better conversations. And we need to start talking more, because a lot of the physical manifestations that we see of things, they probably derive from some things that we carried around mentally. And I don't mean it like, you may not have had some severe trauma, but you may have had some and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
Because you get to talking and you're like, well, that thing that happened to me was real. Because how many times do we say, I think but nah, that didn't happen like that. Nah, that ain't what they meant.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know what, it's what they meant. And you had a feeling, but you buried it down because you had to be strong.
Yeah.
Or you had to have the illusion of being strong. Or for whatever reason, you couldn't admit that hurt you.
Yeah.
So you buried it down and you call it something else. A lot of times I feel like Black men have the ability to be angry, but can't be sad, can't be hurt, can't be emotional. And we hear women telling us, just open up, let me in, I'm here for you. Your partner, whoever, might be your mama, your sister, whoever it is. But we also have these things, and again, I get it when I look at history. My dad telling me, hey, you just got to get through some things, his mind. But he also grew up in the Jim Crow South that if he didn't do, he may not have gone home.
Yeah.
So that's his lens. All he knows is, I need you to be protected. I need you to get home. This is what I've known. This is what has been infused into me. Yeah, it may not be like that, but it still is. So I just want you to keep your head down, be quiet, deny your humanity. And if I had to deny my humanity about so many things, it's going to take a toll somewhere.
Yeah.
So I can go throw up 250 pounds, however many times. I can have the biggest, best muscle, but I haven't taken care of what that thing has done to me internally. That's the weathering. Because I receive these insults and these slights constantly when I have to walk down the street and say, well, I just can't walk down the street. I have to walk a little straighter. I have to keep a smile on my face. I can't be loud. I can't have the perception that I am a threat to anyone. What does that do to us?
Yeah.
And maybe I don't need to see it, but I need to at least acknowledge it. But I need to be able to verbalize it. Because it takes a toll somewhere, right? Because that means I don't get to spend my time being 100% free.
Yeah.
So I'm never off. And we talk about always being on. You say you on 12.
Yeah.
Well, what about we don't want to be? But 12 goes down to 2. It can never go to 0.
Yeah.
You're running something. You're stressing the engine. You're stressing your heart. You're stressing your mind. And these physical health manifestations come from that.
So if that's what I've been taught, what I've been told, how I've lived my whole life, and now I'm hearing this information that makes me question or challenge or even consider or reconsider, like, how do I make a pivot to do things differently if this is all I know?
Take the first step. Habits don't change that easy. I would be foolish to see him say, I told you what to do, go do it. For my own self, I lost 50 plus pounds, but I had to make a dedicated change. And I said that I invested in me because I had not.
Yeah.
As a healthcare professional, I put everybody, everything else before myself.
Okay, quick pause. For the listeners, for the viewers, this is a really, really pivotal moment. Get your journals out, get your books out, get your texts out. I want you to start sending messages, connecting to people based off of what's being said, because these are the conversations, as I mentioned, being in the vault, that we typically don't get to have. We don't have room to have it. We don't have space to have it. Our voice are not given the space to talk about these things. So this conversation is really important. And just because we're saying it and talking about it casually, I want you all to understand the depths of what's being discussed at this time. So continue to break this down, and how do we transition?
Yeah, but so even as a practitioner, I had to get to it myself. But I had to say, I'm on at whatever cost. I pay a lot of money to go to the gym and work with a personal trainer. I'm not hiding my business, right? I shared it with all y'all. But I think about how many pills, and I still have to take some medication. But I think about where I potentially could be. I don't want to have a heart attack at 45. I mean, I still could. You can do everything right. But again, I think there's some other things that we deal with too. But I need to talk about it because we ignore it, man. They ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's just the white folks being white folks. It may be, if that's how, but I guarantee you have a feeling about it. Again, I am a humanist, so I believe in the goodness of people, or I couldn't exist and be.
Yeah.
So there may be some bad ones, but there's some good ones too. It's good people in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm choosing to believe in our goodness and our shared humanity, but I'm also willing to reconcile when I come across those who aren't so good, or the harms that it suggests. Even when they don't know. When that lady, I'm walking down the street and she just pulls her bag a little closer and she pretends that she's looking at her shoe all of a sudden. I don't. I stop, and I still fall back sometimes. I don't just get off the sidewalk to let somebody through to make them feel safe.
Yeah.
Because every time I try to make them feel safe, I also harm myself.
Oh, that's
Because I'm having to be superhuman. And if we really, in my honest opinion, it is not fact. For Black men, we have been told that we have to be superhuman and be the best human at all times. Superhuman. Superman, faster than a speeding bullet. Fly, everything. Nothing gets to him. Black man, don't be too loud. Why don't you smile more? You should do this. You shouldn't do that. Oh, you shouldn't be angry about that. You shouldn't be angry. Angry is a human emotion. I should not display the human emotion for something that should anger me. You get to tell me what I should not be angry about.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to keep it calm because when I want to this perception for people to keep them safe, I have to harm myself. And it may be small here, but I go back to Geronimus's work with weathering. And I think about the stress and the impact. And maybe I am going to go for a run since, if you're running, I'm going to run that much harder. And I'm going to run so hard that I break down. Because that's what I'm using to cope with the hurt and the pain.
Yeah.
But I don't have the words to say that. I won't say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let them win. But letting them win, or the perception of not letting them win, is costing us.
So this is powerful, and I appreciate all of this because it gives us, as Black men specifically, an opportunity to consider the things we never considered because we never looked at it. So I'm curious to know your journey of being Superman, wearing the cape, and then getting in and being in this profession and growing and changing and building, and then getting to a place of a complete stop. I'm gonna take this cape off. Let me start investing in myself, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and becoming a better version of you now that can have this conversation with a different cape. Like, you took that cape off, you invest in yourself, you got a different cape on because we are superhuman as Black men, but you wear a different cape than than many of us from the past. So I'm curious of,
Well,
is it for you?
it's the cape that I chose.
Okay.
And then nobody put it on me.
Yeah.
Because that was what they were putting on me. And I took it. I allowed it. It's, you have to be respectable. You have to be this. This is what a good Black man. Who are you to define when my life should be for me?
So, quick pause. Where did this come from? Because if we were indoctrinated into this culture of what it means to be a Black man, what was it for you to decide, no?
Because of my own curiosity. I have been curious since the beginning, and I would get in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, you just got a smart mouth. You're asking too many damn questions. That's what I hear. Just because I said, I'm like, no, this can't be right. Again, I might have to go and dress water, go to bed, sit my ass down over here somewhere. But that didn't take away the curiosity. This made me be quiet about it. So, and I would do what I thought, but then I was like, this is not serving me. But I think you have to make a realization. It's not serving me. And I remember thinking about it, even from a job standpoint, because, nobody in my family has a doctoral degree. They don't need one. My degree doesn't make me the human being that I am, makes me. So I won't say that. But it was like, well, you got a good job. You just need to stay there. It's like, nah, that ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you want to leave? And well, are they gonna pay you that much more? Well, yeah, they gonna pay, but I'm gonna take the chance. I'm taking a chance on me, and I think that's the thing is sometimes because I really think it goes back to a place of safety where you have a great job, because that's what I can see this now. What my family, and not just my parents but people around, are saying is, you're safe and you're secure and you're stable. Why would you want to disrupt that?
Yeah.
Because we know what disruption is like from all these other things.
Yeah.
You're good. Just stay there and be good. Because what they're saying is, and they don't always have the words to say it. And my dad may not have said it like this, but I love you and you're here and you're safe right now. You're gonna be taken care of. You're not gonna have to deal with these things that I had to deal with when I was disrespected. They like you over there and they want to see you grow. And in 15 years, you can be, and for me, I'm like, in 15 years, I, I'm patient. I'm not that patient. I don't need instant gratification, but I can't wait that long. And I get it. And I have to learn that this is what I hear.
Yeah.
Going through that. But that is me trying to be understanding and step outside of my comfort zone, but also not quiet what has always been to me. Now, you may not have that kind of curiosity.
Yeah.
But what I feel like is how do you develop it? And why question everything?
Yeah.
Even from the professional. Because it might be right. I'm not saying that. But know that you have the right to question.
Yeah.
But some of us are just doing.
Yeah. So it sounds like the pivot came from a lot of small changes over time.
Yeah.
Like seeing things different and questioning it and challenging it and allowing yourself to speak up and speak out because you challenge beliefs related to I'm not allowed to.
Right. And I don't like not having access. I don't like never if you remember you and I in our mid-20s, new professional, just graduated, living in Birmingham. You started a mentoring program. And so every month we go to a different restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
All because we were told not to go there. Why were we told not to go there? I wonder.
So typically that's where white folks eat, or white folks' food, or it's private, or it's too much and expensive. You know.
To every time I heard that, it made me infuriated inside from people. White folks food, white folks, you can't. And again, I get it. We were in Birmingham, Alabama. When I think about it now, it truly was a white folks restaurant at one point. We could work, eat there. Don't you don't up in front of it though. So I do understand the context. But at this point, I'm like, they gonna have to tell me,
You can't eat it.
yeah. Now this is a whites only restaurant. Now in mid 2000s, or they were gonna have to tell me though. And I think part of that is just because of the history, because I knew we couldn't, and you're telling me you're sticking to that.
Mm.
Because it's black people who work there.
Yeah.
So at least I'm gonna get it, and I want them to see me coming here, because they probably feel good to serve me. There's some of these other people who just think it's their privilege to be able to walk in here.
Yeah.
I appreciate this person working here,
Mm.
because I know the bullshit they probably have to deal with on a daily basis when they have to put on their cape and be superhuman in the face of people who won't even acknowledge their man. But I only say that to say it started with things like that. Why? What is white folks' food? I never go into the grocery store and seen where's the white folks' food. But the really messed up thing that I thought about hearing from some of these people were they were telling they like spinach. Maybe some fruit that I wouldn't always eat.
Mm-hmm.
Macaroni ain't a vegetable. It ain't. I don't care what it says on your restaurant meat. It has not been, it is not, and it will not be. Yeah, so there go your three parallels for macaroni to use right now. It is fat, it is good, it is great if you know how to make it.
Yeah.
But if you eat it every day, it will kill you, potentially. So, so I'm like, now I'm looking at, well, it's fresh and it's whole and it's organic, whatever, but black people grew vegetables. We had these things. But you're not telling me, well, I can't eat spinach. So spinach off the menu because this is for white folks only. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. So I can't accept. So this goes to the concept about being done. When you are done, that means you're willing to do something different, uncomfortable, and new. So you've done a lot of things to be done and a lot of challenges by questioning things that have been questioned and looking at the mind and the heart in it, where you're able to see things that a lot of people, or specifically black men, can't see, where you question it. So it's so many layers to all of this for you to become who you are right now. And I want to help as many people, and specifically black men, as possible to do what you've done, like you said, to design the cape that you want to wear. So how can somebody, as we get ready to close out, how can someone take what you've done and what you're sharing for themselves to design their own cake.
I go back to your foundation has to be, and when I say curiosity, it's to get to understand. Because we out here searching for answers and we searching for, because we do it in the barbershop, right? And it feels good because this is exchange of information. But we also know in the barbershop, we hear a lot of outlandish things.
Yeah.
Like,
To this day, Serena Williams is 6'7", 320 pounds. Greatest athlete in the world. I've heard these in the barbershop. I've heard this.
man, all you got to do, I know you got that blood pressure, just get you some of that Tahitian noni bread. If y'all don't know what Tahitian noni is, please go back and Google this. You just take you a shot a day. But it costs you $65 for the bottle, but you're going to get two because I'm going to throw this extra in there for you. But you need to buy this every month now. Again, I'm selling something to you. I have not tried to charge y'all for anything. So eat your fresh fruit and vegetables, move more. You know, as you move more, add more time to it. When you feel like, you know what, I'm feeling better, take something away that probably ain't so good for you, and then get something structured. There you go. There's your exercise plan. Now, if you want a more detailed plan, you can always reach out to me at julianmagee@yahoo.com. And it will cost you, I will say, because my workout ain't cheap. Yours may not be either. But I'm giving you the basics. So move more, be curious, and have fun community and share. I am very spiritual. I believe in God, and I know I would not be where I am. Some of the things that I think of the church today that is lacking, it is not filling the community, especially a Black church. A lot of churches. So the health ministry can't be, you know, we're gonna bring them over here to test your A1C to see if you got the sugar. Why can't it be, you know what? We're gonna have a class on how to eat healthy.
Yeah.
How to make that soul food. Because we got restaurants now.
Yeah.
By Black chefs, cooks, everything that I say, you know, these are the foods of our people, of our culture. But I want to make it healthy.
Yeah.
So this is how we do that. Why can't we be going out in church? And yeah, it's gonna taste different the first couple of times. I'm gonna tell you. Nothing is good as fast. Lord.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But everything in moderation.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, if you go to Thanksgiving and you like, I had this 2 weeks ago, you probably eating it too often. You know, if every day feels like Christmas dinner,
Yeah.
or every Sunday even, you'll probably have what I call some just some basic meal. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
And here's what you need. But you may not know what macros are. Your protein, carb, fats, all that. Your macros come into, they're in your food. And you need them in these different portions of mass. But why shouldn't the church be having these things?
Yeah.
Because it is not just to feed our spiritual selves, it's to also make sure that we can endure for the race. I think at least that's what my Bible said. My God was talking to me about.
Yeah.
So so the church should be a place where I grow in a multitude of areas. And I'm not a separatist of saying we need to split men and women, but Black men need to have our own conversation, because we also need to have our conversations about how we treat Black women, our children, our families. We need to be real about some of the things that we've been told. We've been taught to be misogynistic and toxic in a lot of different ways. You know, that's gay. I heard somebody say to wash your ass in the shower is gay. And I'm sorry. Well, I'm not gonna have no stinky ass out here. You know, to use a straw is gay. And if you're that worried about something being gay, well, maybe you need to have a deeper conversation and reflection.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong if you are gay. I'm just saying these are the types of things of everyday living.
Yeah.
Because gay folks ain't worried about it being gay.
True story.
True story. So I again, I come back to, as a wrap up, to just think about the hows and the whys and what we told, why we can't. And you'll see that if you just start to really think and you make a small change, don't do a trend. I'm not on a diet. I made a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
I'm not working out for 6 weeks to get to this thing, to go to the beach for the summer, and then I gained it back. I made a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And sometimes I fall back. It's sometimes I look in the mirror and I still see those 60 pounds and I struggle. And it's a struggle for me every day. And then I look at all the things that did to my confidence, what it wouldn't allow me to be, what it wouldn't allow me to do. But again, that's part of my mental health. So I need to talk about those things.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to the gym and my therapist is telling me, but you're 40 pounds lighter than you were. You're 50 pounds lighter than you were. So what? Your scale went up 5 pounds, but didn't go up 50. What was the thing that triggered this?
Yeah.
Did you turn to food to cope with something that you wouldn't talk about?
Yeah.
Either with me or with somebody.
Yeah.
Ask ourselves that. Have I turned to alcohol to do that? Do I just come home and fall asleep and I don't engage? So I'm distant, but I'm telling everybody, man, I'm just tired. But what you tired from?
Yeah.
There is another sentence. I am curious about that sentence. I'm just tired. What are you tired from? If you don't mind me asking. That's respectful curiosity.
Yeah.
That's me checking on my brother. That is me trying to help. And I don't have all the answers, but I may know somebody who does. Or have we talked about this? And it's a real conversation. It's not me telling you, man, you lost your girls. Just go out there and find some more until you find one that you like. Look, it's saying, you're hurt by that. I see that, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you at the moment because I may not have the words for you. You are not the counselor.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be, but recognize the humanity. See, hear, and value. And if I can't see it, or I can see it, and I say I value you, but I don't want to talk to you about that right now. What that's saying to me, from a respectfully curious place, is that, well, maybe you can't process tough emotions and feelings. So you can't handle somebody else going through that. And that's fine. Say that to them.
Yeah.
And y'all go together to the group that can talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get out of here, man, thank you for all of this. The infamous question, as you know, everybody knows. Last question relates to pre-parallel. So if you could describe health and wellness for you, who you were when it came to health and wellness, who you are with health and wellness, and who you are becoming specifically related to health and wellness, how would you describe those three parallels?
Who I was, I'll say a health incident. I was a health incident waiting to happen. I was probably a heart attack, stroke, diabetes, something waiting to happen because I wasn't managing stress. I used food as a coping mechanism. I would say, I can say I'm tired because I didn't want to explore my emotions. So it was, I wasn't lying. It was tiring. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't support me.
Mm.
So I was a health incident waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have the knowledge, some skills and abilities to move myself forward out of that. I triumphed over some of those things. And again, anything can happen.
Yeah.
The largest minority population in the world are individuals with disabilities. So, and we're all a day, a second from acquiring one, either permanently or temporarily. But I think about these things. I know when I say, you know what, I had a drink today. 2 is, that's it. I don't need to drink the bottle. Yeah, I really want a burger today, but I know that here's what the fat content of this is. This is what it's doing to my cholesterol. This is what it's doing to my heart. This is not something I need to do every day. So I'm gonna look for something green, something leaner. And again, if you don't know those terms, just ask what it is. I know I need to go have a burger for lunch, and then I got macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, and something else for dinner with peach pie a la mode. Now again, there's no saying if you did that today. Yeah, try not to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So change tomorrow. If that's what you did today, then tomorrow, let's say you're gonna increase your water intake. That was how I started. I'm gonna drink more water. I'm gonna move more. I'm gonna move at least an hour Again, I didn't say how I was gonna move. I just need to move more than I was doing. Yeah, which 10 minutes probably would have been, if I did it consistently, was more than I was doing. And I'm going to start to talk about the things that are going on. So that's who I am. And part of who I was when I made the change to get to who I am, who I'm becoming. It's one to say, I have to advocate. This is not a story that needs to be hidden. I don't need to share it with my 5 wealthiest friends. I don't want to charge $1 million to have access to it. This conversation, I hope, spurs to more and more people in general, but definitely Black men, to talk about what is weathering me. And here's what it's doing to you. So what are your coping mechanisms? You say you don't have any. I guarantee you do. You just don't know that you do. Yeah. You're coping some kind of way. Well, I turn to this. Do things because you want to do them, not because they become your habit. If they become your habit, then it's probably substituting for something else. So I want to be, and I'm becoming, an advocate who lives the life. Now, I'm not going to be Billy Black probably, and I'm probably not going to be Mr. Universe, but I don't need to be. But I want to be happy, healthier, and give myself a chance to go beyond those 60-something years. I don't want 80 years if I have to spend them on dialysis, taking blood pressure medication, and things. I want my greatest change to be to have a happy, healthy, fulfilled, but engaged life. And I'm not saying if you use a walker or any of those things, if you lose a limb, you can't have that. But I'm gonna do my whatever I can to prevent the things that are preventable.
All right. So, final thoughts before we get out of here. Any final thoughts?
Just think about what it means to truly take care of yourself, to be real with yourself, and have respect and curiosity. It will take you a long way.
All right. So, as you all know, we don't do homework here. We do life work. And life work is the gift that keeps on giving. So, if you could offer some life work to the listeners, meaning something they can do to cause them to pivot, to shift, to change, what would that be?
I want you to find one thing that you're willing to change for a lifestyle change and begin your work in that way. So you know that you are not moving at all. Moving is going to be the one that's just the easiest for me because it's movement. Start, commit to that. I'm out of 7 days out of the week, I'm going to move 5 with it. I don't care if you love dancing, do it. You'll find that you're starting to see some changes. And so you're going to take that 1 and you're going to try to get to 3. Once you become consistent, I don't want you to do 3 right off the bat. I want you to take 1 and you're consistent with it. You become so consistent with it that it becomes a habit. And then I want you to add the next thing. Find the next thing on your list. Make a list. Things I want to change, I want to be better about. And then go to that. Become consistent with. And then finally, get to your 3rd thing. Find what it is you want to change and become consistent with. You're going to have some fallbacks. So you're going to have some setbacks. 3 things, finding it to make a change for your lifestyle. And part of that lifestyle is if you know that you're going through some stressful things, find somebody, a professional, ideally, to talk to and talk about. And you may have to go through and find your person, but that's all right. You probably didn't settle on the first partner that you had to be your spouse, whatever. But do that, and I don't have to tell you about 10 because I know they're going to come. Just apply the same thing, the same process over and over and over again. Because that's the parallel. I changed to do this. So if I do that, and that's where my that curiosity for that restaurant, that curiosity as a kid who was always told you asked too many questions, those questions wouldn't go away. And then when I saw, well, I did it differently than I had been told, that this was my result, then I applied that to this thing. And then I applied it to this thing. And now I'm hosting in St. Louis in the Sugar Shack.
All day long. All day long. So, any products, services, or if anybody want to get in touch with you, anybody want to get in contact with you, how can they connect?
I will consult inclusive leadership, organizational excellence, speaking typically, or just planning for growth and development and improving your organization or yourself. You can reach out to me at Julian Magee at yahoo.com.
You heard it here first. As you know, we are here in the Sugar Shack, baby. And I got to give it to you. It's here. It's official. Okay. The Gator Skills Journal is available for you right now. It's on sale. It's on sale. And I just decided to start a VIP training, a 6-week program to help you walk through the Gator Skills Journal. So if you're interested, DM, text, call, any way that you want to get in contact with me to help you on your journey, feel free to do so. Again, coming to you live from the Sugar Shack, me and my guy, the one and only Dr. Julian Magee. I expect that this episode did something to you, something for you. It's blessed you. And if it did, don't keep it to yourself. Share, like, subscribe, give this information away, especially to any man in your life, specifically any Black man in your life. Share the information because we're all about getting better. How we get better? By investing in ourselves first. This has been another episode of 3 Parallels Podcast with your host, the Brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are, and make room for who we're trying to become. Today is your day to become the best version of you possible. Have a good day, good morning, good evening, and good night. Peace.
Peace.